Today's interview is with John Rubino. John Rubino is a former Navy pilot turned real estate investor who now focuses on raising money for deals. So if you're interested in raising money for deals and want to learn how he's done it, what kind of tricks and tips he offers up, today is a great episode for you. As always, like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, Wrestling with Real Estate. Go to the WWRE podcast and give me a 5-star rating and write me a review, a good one, of course. And I'm trying to meet as many of you as I can. Anyone who's interested in real estate and wants to talk about real estate, I'm looking to meet with you and talk with you over a Zoom call. So there's going to be a link in the description down below. If you go to wrestlingwithrealestate.com, I'd love to hear all about what you're trying to achieve in real estate and to see if there's any way I can help you. So enjoy today's interview with John Rubino. Hello and welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we look to chokeslam all your real estate problems. I'm your host, former WWE wrestler and now Cirque du Soleil performer, and of course, multifamily real estate investor, Barri Griffiths. Now today we have John Rubino with us today. Hey John, how you doing?
Barri, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's absolutely my pleasure to have you here. So I'm excited to dive into the conversation. But before that, you want to tell us where you are, a little bit about your background, which you have a really cool background, and kind of what you're up to now.
Yeah, so I'm on the East Coast. I know you're on the West Coast. So thank God we have Zoom. We can virtually be like we're right next door to each other. So that's awesome.
It's amazing.
I live right outside of Washington, D.C. in Northern Virginia, Fairfax County. I've been living here since 2011. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, so New Yorker by heart. And I've served in the Navy for 20 years, graduated college in 1997, a long, long time ago. And you mentioned background, you have some of my background here. I was a Navy pilot, so that was an awesome, awesome opportunity. Top Gun came out in the early 80s, and I said, that's what I want to do. So Tom Cruise was the man back then, and I've enjoyed it ever since, doing the Navy, being in the Navy, being a pilot, just the friends I made, the experiences I had, what it taught me to be now a successful businessman, to be balanced, to be someone that really appreciates his faith and his family and just really lives life to its fullest. So I am so grateful that the Lord blessed me with my first dream, which was to be a pilot. And now he's turned around and given me my second dream, which is my real estate career and being a business owner. So I enjoy it. I love it. And I'm just so grateful to be able to do it each day.
Cool story. Now, I'm going to ask you the hardest question you've probably ever been asked, but how do you feel about the Top Gun sequel?
Oh, my goodness. I saw the trailer. It looks pretty cool. I don't know if it'll ever be the same as the original, but
right? That's the problem with sequels, especially far, like after the initial one, if it was like a couple of years after the first one, I'm always like that. And I know why they do it, right? It's a money thing. Like they can, do that. But man, the first one was so good. Like it was so good.
It's hard to beat the original.
Yeah. So first one. So was that really why you got into wanting to be a pilot?
So my dad was in the Marine Corps. He served in Korea. He won the Bronze Star and the Purple Heart. I have his shadow box on my wall. It just reminds me every day of him as my hero. He was old school. He basically was he stood up the reconnaissance unit of the Marine Corps, recon. And he also was part of the startup and the establishment of the Navy SEALs. Like he actually taught the Navy SEALs. So my dad is like, the toughest of the tough, but, really a down to earth guy, great heart, would give you a shirt off his back. And, I learned at a very young age about the value of being an honest, integrity-based person, how to really, emulate my parents, who both came from humble backgrounds, worked their butts off. And mom ran her own business, was a 30-year school teacher as well. Dad was the Marine Corps guy, but also owned a construction company. In 1993, he put up 8 floors to the World Trade Center when the bomb went off in 1993. So, he's always been my hero. He's always been my mentor. He's been the guy that I go to as my rock. And, that experience of him being in the military, it was around me my whole life. I did 8 years of Catholic school, and then, turned around and I went to a military high school. And, as an 18-year-old kid, I'm carrying around a sword, and I'm a company commander of 50 young men and talking to them and teaching them. So at a very young age, I was put in a leadership position, and I just fed on it, Barry. I just loved it. And I went to a military college, and I just knew that I was going to be in the military. I wanted to serve my country, and Top Gun was really just the icing on the cake. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, I'm sold. So it just really motivated me and got me into that and that passion for it. And the 20 years that I had serving, just like I said, the people you meet, the relationships you make, just the opportunities you get to experience, the investment that the country puts into you, not only monetarily, but just from, just the opportunity for you to go out and do these wonderful things and serve your nation and fight for your country, see some crazy stuff, but at the same time, come home and talk about it. And I'm just so grateful. And it made me a better businessman, a better father, a better person of faith. And I'll be ever eternally grateful for the experiences I had, both in the military and being raised through my mom and dad and the values they taught me.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure me and a lot of people would like to thank you for your service.
Thank you. It was an honor and always will be to serve.
Genuinely have nothing but the highest respect for.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and be known that we do appreciate that, and we do look at it as an honor to serve. It really is. It's not taken for granted by any means.
Yeah. No, I agree. So then you transition from all of that to being an entrepreneur. You mentioned that your parents both had that entrepreneurial spirit, but did you leave behind? I'm sure you brought the lessons that you've learned and everything through that career, but did you leave everything behind? Was that a tough decision to transition then just from being you mentioned most of your life you've had this military background, and then to all of a sudden leave that and just focus on the entrepreneurial side of things? Was that a tough transition for you?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that I was coming to the end of my career in the military. I knew I was going to be kind of transitioning out at the 20-year point. God put me in a position of challenge and struggle at first when I moved back to DC back in 2011, 2012. I went through some challenges in my life, but got through them. I persevered just because mainly I put my trust in him, and he guided me through those challenging times. And I think that it was a true testament and kind of a reason for doing that, because I think now it's made me stronger as a person, as an individual. It's set my foundation solely around my faith and my spirituality and my beliefs. And it's made me a better person, a better dad, a better businessman, a better cousin, colleague, client, whatever you want to consider. But at the end of the day, it really just, it helped me get through some tough times. So I missed the camaraderie. I missed the opportunity of getting in my plane in the morning and not dealing with traffic, seeing the sun come up over the clouds and just saying to myself, man, I am just living the dream right now. But I knew that, life was going to transition for me, and I'd have to choose what was my next path. And, my decisions in life have been divinely inspired, and it helped me with that next move. And so, my initial thought, Barry, was like, yeah, I'm going to get out. I'll work for the government. I'll be a government contractor, or I'll be a civil servant. But real estate kind of followed me throughout my time in the Navy. Back in 2005, I was an active investor. I was buying properties, and I was fixing stuff up, and I was doing some new construction properties when I was stationed down south in Maryland. And from that point on, around 2005, 2006, I really got attraction for real estate, and I stayed around it more in a passive sense. So I used the experiences I got from investing passively and with people I knew and I really trusted that were out there doing it, buying these big properties and fixing them up and doing condo units and apartment investing and multifamily and all these different types of things. I learned because I invested with them. I gave them a nice chunk of money, and they were sending me pro formas, budgets, offering memorandums, packages to look at. And it built my knowledge of real estate. It really gave me a crash course. And at the same time, I was making money doing it, which was great. So when I got back to DC in around 2011, 2012, I said, this is what I want to do. I want to take what I've done over the past 7, 8, 9 years of investing passively, and I want to take that out to the marketplace, first with friends and family to come in and partner with me to bring in capital to businesses that need our money, and mainly businesses that I've already been working with, businesses that I have a track record with, that have proof of concept. And so that was really the model, the concept, the strategy of the business, was partner with businesses that are out there doing it actively that we can help and add value to. And on the flip side, bring in friends, family, now public accredited investors, people that want to invest passively to join us and be part of opportunities on a project by project basis. And the investors, now at 150 investors in our business, have the opportunity to see what we do, have the opportunity to decide if it's a good property or a project or investment for them, purely passive, while they go off and do their full-time job and come home on the weekend with a cup of coffee in their pajamas, looking at their portfolio that we help, oversee for them. And we represent both the sponsor and we represent the investor, and we're the liaison in the middle to make sure the two can come together and offer opportunities for individuals to invest at a $25,000 to $50,000 level, but be part of a $3 to $5 million investment, which is what we would then bring to the sponsor for their project-specific opportunity.
Yeah, really cool. I think that's a huge thing with, with syndication, whatever, that, people sometimes have a hard time putting their head around, is that you can buy a 5 million, be part of a 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, even $40 million. I invested passively in a $48 million property, I think, and it's not like I'm never ever going to be able to buy that property by myself, but I can own a small, tiny chunk of that property and be involved in that fantastic project, by investing 50,000 into that. And I think that's right. Such an amazing thing that people sometimes have a trouble understanding and thinking like, wait, I can be part of this,
right,
with as little as that, but that's a really cool thing about it. And everyone gets in the profits as well.
It's right. And it gives them ownership. It gives them the opportunity to participate. And, they still go through the process of making sure that they're comfortable, that we're doing our job, we're answering their questions, we're always available. We want to make them feel that, look, they are the VIP. They are number one. We position, structure, put the projects together to ensure that the investors, given the level of risk, are always protected as best as we can, that risks are addressed and mitigated, and that they're in a position to be part of something really special. And the way we do it, and we've done it, knock on wood, to date really well, it's a fun opportunity to be part of something special. And I love taking investors out to a project when it's just dirt and they're like, really? My money's going into this? And I'm like, give it some time. They come back in a year and they see this big building. In 2 years, they see people running around and the area is exploding. And they're like, holy cow, how did you know? And I'm like, you gotta look at the big picture. You gotta look at the area. You gotta look at the market. And these are the things we do to help, ensure that our investors are comfortable, understand the investment, and are taking the opportunity to be part of something really special.
So what do you guys actually do? You guys are the middlemen, or are you guys part of the general partners?
Yeah, so we structure our deals to be limited partners, where we come in for that slice of equity at the general equity, or the private equity position, to really be the icing on the cake to get the sponsor 100% of that capex or capitalization. So they're going to go out and get the bank, or going to get a capital debt lender 60 to 70%. They may bring in a preferred equity piece at 10 to 15 to 20%. And then together with them, we'll be like that friends and family or private equity piece to get them over that 100%. And where we add value to the sponsors is, we could bring in that, $500,000 to $5 million a deal, which the larger PE private equity groups don't have an appetite to do. They want to be at the 10 to 20 to $100 million level or $50 million level. And for the sponsors, we can go out and raise that level through our group of investors that are on board as JID investment investors. And we manage we don't manage, but we help we do manage. We manage, and not in the mindset as like a registered investment advisor or a broker dealer, but we manage the communications, the information sharing. We kind of lead our group of investors that participate on that specific deal. The 150 investors don't have to invest. It's really up to them. You know, maybe 30 investors on this deal or 50 investors on that, but we manage those investors and communicate between the sponsor and the investors that are representative. So the sponsor doesn't have to worry about the $50,000 to $25,000 level investor. They deal with me. And then I represent those investors so that the communication flow between the two goes through me, and that both parties know that we're overseeing their equities.
And then, so is this a fund?
We don't, it's not a fund. We actually will have our investment set up on a project by project basis for a few reasons. One, it's easier, it's cleaner, and the investors know that if they're investing on project A, that their money's going into project A. And so from a tax perspective, my business partner is our CFO. He does the tax returns. He does the K1 statements. He does the investor statements. So it's very clean. You get one K1. Once we liquidate, the project's finished. You know, if it's a long-term capital gains event or if it's a cash flowing income event, you're going to get the tax returns from us. We're not taking 100,000 and sprinkling it among 10 properties. We want people to know their money's going into one project and that they know their funds are going into that specific opportunity. And for diversification, they can come in other projects we do as well. But right now, we're really just doing it project by project, on a project by project basis. And we set up a Form D, 506 B or C securities through our attorney. We do a private placement. So typically our investors are accredited. They meet the accredited investor status, either through income or net worth. We do have some non-accredited close friends and family, but we still make sure we meet the guidelines of the SEC when it comes to engagement, sophistication, making sure that the investors understand the risk. And, you know, we still have the opportunity to do that. And those individuals can come in on a 506B as per those regulations. So it's pretty neat. They're joint venture opportunities. We're partnering with the sponsors. We're getting them the capital they need. Then we're giving the investors the opportunity, again, to participate on a large scale project at a $25,000 to $50,000 level.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. It's like a win-win all around. You know, the sponsors, that you take that burden off them of having to raise that capital. Like you said, if they're dealing with 20, 30 investors, that's a lot of work in itself. You know, and you guys are kind of doing that. And then you've already corrected your pool of investors, and your investors know that. I'm guessing they built trust in you. They know that you guys are going to vet the deal sponsors and the deal, so that takes that burden away from them. And then obviously you guys get compensated in the middle for all of that work. But it's a win-win for everyone. I think that's a really.
It is, and like when we have a deal and we start sending out the information on the projects, there's a lot of feedback we want from our investors. We want them to provide their feedback, their insights, their questions, because a lot of times we do our best to put the deal on a silver platter, but there are instances where we have some very, very insightful and very interested investors, and we want them to feel that they can ask us questions. A lot of times I'll get questions that I can answer, but there's always that one or two times that I'm not afraid to say it. I'm a humble person that I have to go back to the sponsor and be like, listen, I got this really good question by this investor, and I need this answer. So, and a lot of times those types of questions that get back to the sponsor we have to answer, we put that out to the rest of the group so everybody's informed. We're fully transparent. We want to make sure everybody knows the types of questions. And sometimes it even makes it on the PPM, the private placement memorandum, where we're actually making sure people understand that, hey, this is something we found that was a fantastic question. And, it's that team kind of player concept, that team essence of bringing it in. Just like when I was a pilot, we all came together and we asked questions and we made sure we understood the mission. And nobody kind of felt like, oh, I don't want to be the dummy to ask this question. No, there was no stupid question, no stupid people, no stupid questions. Everything was out there. We made people feel like, hey, we got to get this stuff on the table, which our investors like.
Yeah, I'm sure they like as well the fact that you're willing to say, "Hey, I don't know, but I'll find out." You know, and
Exactly.
I think that's,
There
you
you go.
know, it's nothing worse than someone who's trying to fake it, right? If you don't know, it's fine, but there's a way to find out. And I think the investors, I'm sure that's one of the main reasons.
They appreciate that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Then, so you mentioned the 506C and 506B. How do you guys decide on which one you're going to do? Is it depending on the investors? Is it depend on the deal? How do you guys make that decision?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest is that the sponsor tells us, we're only going to accept accredited investors. So then we know it's a 506C. If David, my partner, and I look at the deal and we say, this is a little more riskier. It's taking us more time to go through. We feel like, it's a new market, a new sponsor. We're going to only bring this one to our C investors. But I would tell you that 80 to 90% of the deals we've done have been Bs. So we do open it up to our non-accredited investors. We're allowed up to 35. We don't even have 35 non-accredited in the business. So the Bs are easy. We still do our verification of accredited investor status or non-accredited. We get our paperwork put together. And since we bring, with our process of onboarding new investors, we go through a lot of that heavy lifting up front, so that people get the chance to see our deals, ask us our questions, schedule our meetings, go through our paperwork, have access to us 24/7. And then they become an investor by signing our questionnaires. And once they become an investor, then we don't have to worry so much about the general solicitation laws with the 506B, because now those folks are our investors. They've gone through a package. They've gone through our deals. They've come to us and seen a project. So all of that upfront engagement, all that upfront due diligence on the investors, we kind of knock that out up front and make sure that they're comfortable. And then they become part of our company as investors. And then we're able to send out project announcements, offering memorandums and summaries, and then the full bore private placement memorandum packages.
Cool. How do you guys find your investors? I think, that can be a challenging thing for a lot of people, I think, right? I think there's a lot of money out there right now, but in general, I think, find the money and find the deals, right? That's the two things that people always say they have the biggest trouble with.
Yeah, I enjoy going and talking to investors first and bringing them on board. I very rarely go out to a new pool of investors when I have a deal. I'd rather have people on board, understand my process, understand how we operate, ask the questions, beat us to death on their concerns, and have them in a position to have already seen a private placement memorandum package, so that when we have a live deal, they've already been like, yes, I met John, I've asked him my questions, I've gone out to a deal, I've saw a package, I really like these guys and where they operate. They're not putting me in a position to be committed or be required to invest in a deal. And when we have a live deal, it's kind of like, okay, I know what these guys are about. There's not a onboarding or an education process when we have a deal. We want to have that all kind of knocked out. When you have your deal, there's going to be different things that you have to address, but 99% or 90%, let's say, of that upfront stuff's done. But I love it. I love going out and talking to investors. I love organically meeting new investors. But we have the website, we have LinkedIn, we have the YouTube page. We advertise, we market. But the best thing that I found to be a great source of new investors is when we have investors that refer friends and family and colleagues and clients to us, because they see that we say what we do and do what we say, and they understand that we really are committed to what we do. We love what we do, and we're good at what we do. We've completed 16 investments to date. We've invested $6.5 million with $2.25 million in revenue. We're overseeing 6 projects, soon to be 8 projects, at about $14.6 million, with projected revenue at $8 to $12 million. So, we've got a track record. We can show folks that, yes, we know what we're doing. Yes, we've been to these markets. Yes, we've worked with these sponsors. Yes, we understand that asset class, so that they feel comfortable and they see that they can, I hate to say that, they trust us primarily or 100%, and that's what we want. But at the same time, trust is very important, but at the same time, we have to show them that we can perform. So I shouldn't say I hate when they say, I trust you. That's great. I love that they trust me, but I also want to make sure that they know that we can perform.
Yeah, really interesting. Yeah, and I think you touched on it there. You can't beat word of mouth referral, right? It's number one, right? Because You can look at someone's pro forma or, you know, statistics on their website. But if you have a friend who's invested in your deal and they tell me, hey, I've worked with John, they did this with this, and they went above and beyond, blah, blah, blah. Well, that means 100 times more to me than anything that I can see on a computer screen, I think.
Absolutely. It's what we call kind of a hot lead, but at the same time, it's a lead that comes to us from a referral from someone that puts their trust in us and takes the opportunity to introduce us to someone that they trust and that they want to share that with. And that's the whole reason why, Barri, I stood up my business, is that I have something I feel is very special. I know it adds value to our sponsors, but it also adds value to folks that really want to participate in exciting opportunities to make great returns, but be part of something special. I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek, know your why. And that's my why. My why is you get what you get with me. There's nothing, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm going to be totally honest with people up front. I got nothing to hide. This is my job. This is my passion. And I got 4 kids that, I want to give this to, or at least give the opportunity to as they grow up. So, you only get to burn someone once, and I have no desire to burn anybody. I want folks to realize that I love what I do. I'm a relationship-based person. I'm driven by my faith, and I'm excited. I wake up every day saying, I can't wait to do what I do. I really, really enjoy it.
That's awesome. I absolutely, that's so cool. I think what I hear time and time again is with successful people is that they have that attitude of they want to be in this long term and they want to serve people and they want those people to be so happy with the service that they provide that's the most important thing to them, because then obviously everything else falls in place, right? If you have happy, if you have happy clients, everything, the money will come, the business, the entrepreneurial side of things will always come if you take care of that side. And I've heard that time and time again.
I can't tell you how much, and when I was in the Navy for 20 years, I kind of felt like I got a degree in psychology when I came out, because I learned so many different personalities. The leaders to stay, not to necessarily stay away from, but just don't be like those leaders, because their traits, their leadership styles, the way they drive folks is not what I want, but I still learned from them. And then there was the ones where it was like, I want to be just like that guy right there. Whether it's General Mattis, or it was, Admiral Winnefeld. These are the guys I really, was like, these are the guys I want to be like when I am in charge. And those are the folks I really, I followed. And then when I was an instructor pilot, I had these kids coming out of college and I had to teach them how to fly an airplane. So like, I didn't know how, Jim reacted and how, Sheila reacted. There were 2 different personalities there. So I had to know what kind of, way of teaching. And that's helped too, because communication is very important. I start throwing out terms like PPM and IRR and ROI and SEC, and people are like, what is this guy talking about? You got to be able to talk to your audience in a way where they understand it. You're not talking down to them. You're not trying to say, oh, I know everything. No, you just want to make sure that you can do it in a way that it's informative and they walk away from the situation educated and they feel like, wow, this person knows what they're doing. And then you get those people that just look at you with dollar signs in their eyes. Like you said, you got to look at the foundations of what drive you and your business. And if you're an integrity-based, dedicated, passionate person that's humble and really, wants to help people genuinely. One of my favorite books is Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, because that to me is the Bible of how to be with people, how to build relationships, show that you genuinely care about someone. And that book to me was just like, wow, this guy gets it, and this is who I am.
That's a great book. I love that book.
Yes.
If we go back a little bit to, you said 2012 and 13, I think is when you sort of started your career. At that point, you'd had experience with real estate and you obviously had decided that real estate was for you. You could have gone any ways at that point, right? You could have been a flipper, wholesaler, a rental property investor. You could have been gone on the GP side.
GP side, yeah.
What made you decide to go the route that you did?
I'm a people's person. I love people. My purpose, I feel, in life is God's got me in this job because he wants me to learn from others and he wants me to help others. And I say that wholeheartedly with all my heart. I love people. I'm from an Italian family. My mom's got 12 siblings. My dad comes from a big family, and it was always about family. It was always about taking care of family. And my mom's 7 brothers, 6 of them had grocery stores. One owned an equestrian business. And the takeaway from my uncles and even my aunts, because they were tough too. We called them the generals. Was you always take care of people, especially in business. You always look out for your family, and you always look out for people. Customer service is number 1. You treat people and you take care of your customer as if they were the most important thing in the world. And that's how we do our business. Our investors are our VIPs, our sponsors. We treat them with respect. And if I'm going through and doing my due diligence on a new sponsor who wants to work with us and needs funding, and I have to go back to that sponsor 3, 4, 5 times for information, that's just a lack of respect for me. So I say, you know what? I'm going to probably pass on working with them because they just don't have the same characteristics and qualities that I have and that I would expect that if they ask me for something, I'm going to have it to them within 24 hours or sooner. So I love this aspect of the business because it puts me in front of people. It teaches me more about the business. And, you know, you're never going to learn. It's like golf. I love playing golf. I go out and play golf and I always learn something new. I learn a new swing. I learn a new stroke or whatever it is. But I never will master golf. You know, you ask Tiger Woods, who's arguably the greatest golfer, or Phil Mickelson, or whoever your favorite golfer is, and they can go out and shoot a 62 one day and shoot a 79 the next or an 85 the next, you know. It's just the way it is, and you learn something new each day in this business. So, you know, wholesaling is great. Flipping is awesome. Being a developer is great. But I love what I do because I feel that it puts me in front of the people that I enjoy being with, and I'm good at it. I enjoy it. I like talking about investing. I like talking about real estate. And, you know, that's why I chose this path.
Yeah, that's really cool. I can tell your passion is very apparent, you know, and I love that. I think that's really cool. I think going back though, I think it would help some people, you know, who maybe think, okay, I want to raise money. Maybe they want to go the same path you, or they want to be on the general partnership, but they want to raise money. You know,
right.
in 2012, 2013, when you started, you didn't have a track record. You didn't have all these deals. You didn't have all these millions of dollars invested. You know,
right.
you hadn't had successful deals. How did you get started? How did you find the investors back then? Because it's one thing to say, hey, you guys want to invest money, but you know, you have no track record. You have no huge experience per se. You invested passively, but it's not quite the same. And then how do you go to general partners and being, hey, I'm going to raise money for your deals? Or did you have that money already? You know, maybe talk a little bit about all that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we started small. We started on residential renovation projects. We had 4 investors, myself and my partner included. We provided, you know, I think it was $100,000 on our first project. You know, we put 25,000 together. We set it up as a small little LLC, and we did loan documents. You know, so it was kind of like, you know, hey, let's start small. And so we pulled some money together. We invested with a friend of mine that was a military guy that I knew, and he did a fix and flip. He brought in $25,000 of his own capital. And in 4 months, we made $25,000 on our $100,000. So I was like, wow, we made $25,000, 25% in 4 months. You know, that's 75% annualized. That's amazing. And so, yeah, we started small, and then we did another one and another one and another one. And then we kind of found that money was getting cheaper. So we had to find our sweet spot, which was the equity. And so that's when we started going and working with general partners and sponsors that were looking to raise, you know, $500,000, $2 million, $5 million. And my mentor, who I still work with, you know, fellow Navy pilot, we know each other for over 20 years. He has grown his business into a $40 million, $40 million business. He's done a number of projects, and he is just, you know, crushing it right now. And he's a guy that we decided to partner with, and he's a guy that, you know, had projects for us. And that's the guy I really thought we would be working with when we started the business. And we've been very blessed to work with him. He's actually done $400 million in development, so that tells you how big he is. He's been in business since 2006, and he's my mentor. He got me started. So that's another thing, putting the right people around you. And that was the guy that I knew I wanted to be around, and kind of is one of my primary developers and I work with. And we've had a great track record together. We're on our 11th project. We've hit or surpassed our projected returns on our 6 completed deals. And, you know, he sees what I can offer, but there's also the relationship. He knows that I'm a person he can trust. He knows that I'm a integrity-based guy. And there's the personal relationship we have, not only the business relationship. So that's a very important thing too. But yeah, I mean, look, when you come to the table with a value proposition, when you come to the table where you show that you have proof of concept, investors are going to see that. People are going to come to you. They're going to ask you the hard questions, but they're going to make you a better business, and they're going to realize, wow, this person's got something good going, and I want to be part of it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, just from speaking to you today, I can kind of tell you're a very honest, hardworking, transparent person. I think people are going to always be drawn to that, you know. And
thank you.
I don't think it's, I can't imagine it would have been that hard for you to convince people to start off with, you know, because they would have felt, I would feel like they would have felt comfortable. And of course, now you have this amazing business that you built, but I'm sure that the person that you are drew people towards you. So that's
I appreciate that. Well, I got mom and dad to thank for that, and the good Lord above. So I'm humble as I can be.
I also appreciate how you look up to a lot of people. You know, I think that's, you know, we all need people to, you know, to be mentors and to be people we strive to be like, right? And I think you mentioned a few people already, you know, your dad and these admirals and this developer that you were speaking to. And I think that's, you know, I think that's an important lesson. It doesn't matter how successful, and even today, as successful as you've been, still have people you admire to be like. And I think that's an important lesson that a lot of us can learn from.
I think we just have to be open to allowing opportunity to come, and just be open-minded. And again, I know I say a lot, but it's just me. It's really my faith. I just feel like, you know, you gotta give it up to the Lord to decide what's best. And I think that with that mindset, and just, you know, being open to those different paths that God has planned for us, there's so many doors that He's got ready for you to open. And I think we just have to be humble enough to just say, I'm gonna go down the path that He thinks is best for me. And I'm just going to let Him pull me in those directions. And, you know, it's not just sit back and just say, okay, I'm just going to sit around and wait till you decide what you want me to do. No, it's going out and being energetic and energy based. But when you meet new people, you got to say to yourself, you know, that person's in my life for a reason. Why is that person in my life? And sometimes it's to teach you a lesson that, you know, hey, I need to be away from that person. Or, hey, this person has got the opportunity to really be someone I can look up to and learn from, or I can help that person. There's something I can do. I may not be able to do it through my business, but I got so many other people in my network I want to introduce them to as a referral, because there's someone in my network that can help that person. And I think that's how we have to look at business, Bar. We got to look at it as something that's a gift, and that we could take and really enjoy and own, to the point where, again, you wake up with a smile every day knowing you help someone, or that, hey, I just closed a huge deal, or, hey, you know, I just met this wonderful person. Whatever it is, each day is an adventure.
Yeah, so true, so true. So as I mentioned earlier, this show is called Wrestling with Real Estate. So there's a real part where I like to incorporate some of my background into the real estate field. So, you know, the first question I like to ask people is, what would your wrestling name be if you were a wrestler? What would your wrestling name be?
Oh my goodness. So I was such a big fan of the WWF as a kid. Hulk Hogan, Sergeant Slaughter, Bruno Sammartino. I guess, you know, I'll steal Rocky Balboa's wrestling name. I'd be the Italian Stallion, not because I have, you know, long glowing hair, but just because, you know, I got that Italian background. So
maybe I got the hairy
chest. That's right. I have more hair on my chest than my head. So yeah, you can call me either the hairy Italian or the Italian Stallion. How's that?
I like the Italian Stallion. I like that.
I like it.
So the Italian Stallion is in the ring.
That's right.
What would be every wrestler has a special move. What would be the Italian Stallion's special move in real estate? What would be your biggest strength in real estate, you think?
My biggest strength in real estate is really just my ability to build relationships. You know, whether it's directly for direct business for people that want to work with me and have the opportunity to be part of what we do, or it's indirect. Again, like I said before, where I got so many people I know and that are good people in business that, you know, I might be able to connect them with, whether it's through LinkedIn or an invite or an introduction or come out to a networking group. You got to meet my friend Bettina or my friend Albert or my friend Adam. They are just amazing people and you're going to like what they do. Or, hey, here's Bettina, Albert, Adam's one-page executive summary on what they do. Just let me know what you think. And if they're a good person, I'll introduce. So I like building those relationships because you never know. I mean, I may meet a landscaper, someone that I would not think I could do business with, but then the next thing you know, they turn around and say, hey, I got 5 cousins that have a business and they invest in real estate. I'd love to introduce you to them. You seem like a great guy. Holy cow, where did that come from, right? So I think that's really important. Relationships to me would be my secret move.
Something else I've heard a lot as well from people on here is that you never know who has money, right? The person that will walk in and you think, oh, that person doesn't have a penny, will be the one that has $5 million sitting in the bank.
You never know. That's right.
The person that you think is super rich is the one that never invests with you, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is a true statement. The Millionaire Next Door, another good book.
Yeah, great, yeah. What's been the biggest body slam you've taken in your real estate investing career?
Yeah, we had one deal that, you know, didn't go as well as we wanted. Learned a lot. You know, go see a property before you give someone money. If it's a project that's like a renovation or something smaller, you know, make sure you set up draws and don't just give them all the money up front and take their word for it. You know, back up the data with an independent review and analysis of the market. Don't just take their word for it. Yeah, you know, just learn from your mistakes. People are so afraid to make mistakes. I'm not saying go out there and jump on a grenade when you know there's a grenade there with a pin out of it. But you know, just know that, you know, be open to learning, and that experience taught us quite a bit. The good news is we actually made money on that. We were able to still say that we were in the black on 16 of 16. Of course, 15 of 16, we hit or surpassed our projections on our returns, and we're talking, you know, 15 to 20% a year for our investors, which is wonderful. But yeah, I mean, that definitely was one of those where when I was a kid, if I got a bad grade, I remember those a lot more than when I got the good grades. So that was definitely a humbling experience.
Trust but verify, I guess, is the lesson.
There you go. Absolutely love that phrase.
Was there a moment you were standing on the top rope, getting ready to jump, but you were too scared? What was it and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, you know, when I was getting ready to transition out of the Navy, I think that was probably that moment I had where it was like I was ready to take that step to do the business full time, but I wasn't too sure if the ice was solid or it was going to crack. And so, yeah, you know, I went through some interviewing processes. I interviewed with some government contractors just to kind of go through that process and see. And, you know, when you're in the military for 20 years, you get a paycheck every 2 weeks. There's no question. You know, you're not going to get fired. You're under a commitment. And so, you know, you're going to get paid. So, I mean, that stability, that reassurance, that security was always there. But when you start working for yourself and there's no paycheck every 2 weeks, you basically, you know, you're going to either eat a sandwich with no meat in the middle or you're going to eat a steak sandwich. You know, that's really up to you. So that definitely was a period where I was a little apprehensive, but, you know, I got the confidence. I said, look, I could do this. I did it part-time for 4 years. We were successful. We made money. We were successful with our investors. We grew the business. If I could do this full-time now, God knows. And my business partner, who's my mentor, was my accountant for a while, and now he's my CFO and he's my big brother, my business partner, my mentor. You know, this is a guy that gives me the confidence to go out and do what I can do. And, you know, when he took me aside and said, look, we're going to be fine. I'm here. We're going to crush it. That just gave me the confidence to go out and just not be afraid. There are periods, you know, that I look at a deal and I'm like, you know, I've gone through this 100 times. You still feel like, you know, but at that point, I'm like, nope, I'm going to invest my own money in it. David's going to invest his own money in it. We're going to do this deal. But yeah, that to me was definitely a little nervous stepping off that top rope.
I like that you say that there's still a moment that you're, even with a new deal, that you're still a little bit,
Yeah.
Well, I think that's good, because I don't think
Yeah.
the moment when you're just like, okay, here's my money, here's everything, and everything's going to be fine, you know, that's when things will go south, man.
That's right. Complacency. I agree.
Yeah, you always want that little bit of edge. So cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing everything today.
Oh yeah, no
Super
problem.
fun.
This is my pleasure.
Super fun interview. Super high energy. Super energetic, and I like your aura. I like your vibe. It's just
thank you.
It makes for a great interview. Makes for, I don't know. It's made me have more energy myself today.
Well, that's good. You don't need another cup of coffee. Oh, that's great.
And everything that you've been through, what are you doing now? And, you know, there's a lot of great nuggets there for a lot of people to learn from. So I think that's really cool. Before we go,
appreciate it.
How can people get in touch with you if they want to? And anything
Yeah.
you want to promote as well?
We just redid our website. One of my good friends and colleagues in a networking group I go to did a wonderful job. And so you can go to jidinvestments.com, J as in Juliet, I as in India, D as in Delta, investments.com. And check us out. We have everything on there. We have all of our documentation, our services, our projects. So it's really a good place to go. I have a YouTube channel. You can go check us out at JID Investments LLC. And then I also have LinkedIn, social media, and feel free to share my contact info with your listeners. I am always available if people have questions about things like opportunity zones, which is cool. We're getting ready to do an opportunity zone investment. Or they have a question about starting out in real estate, or what's a good book to read. I just started reading Extreme Ownership by Jocko and Leaf. I don't know. Yeah, you probably know. Yeah, unbelievable book. Unbelievable. And it's like, now we're starting to scale our business. So it's like, who do I need to go out to bring on to kind of, you know, multiply me 10 times and have the type of people I want to be in this business to help us grow. But yeah, that's probably the best place to get a hold of me. And I love to talk to people. If anybody wants to chat about anything, about business or whatever, reach out to me anytime.
Cool. I'll share all the links in the description below. So
absolutely.
John, thank you so much for taking the time today, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Barry. I really enjoyed it. Good talking with you.
Thank you, man.